Smoothie Tuesday. I do see a lot of familiar faces, but I want to ask, anybody in here know nothing about the Michigan Black Business Alliance, or this is your first MBDA event? Yay, okay. I love for my spiel for new people. So just to tell you a little bit about the Alliance. So Michigan Black Business Alliance, we just turned 3 earlier this year in March. We're a nonprofit organization whose main goal is to close the racial wealth gap, to create not only sustainable but successful Black-owned businesses. And the way we're attacking that racial wealth gap is through advocating for policy and then the implementation of programs like
so we have 4 core programs. Our Capital Connect program, which I do see some alum in the room, is our 12-week cohort-based program where you walk through about 3 or 4 weeks of operation school, so you really learn how to turn your side hustle into a legitimate business. You'll leave Capital Connect with 3 years financial projections that are fully vetted by a provider. You'll also leave with a business plan as well. You'll also do a pitch competition because we do work with about 12 to 13 different funders who come and participate in that pitch panel, so you get that feedback before you're actually submitting for that loan, which is really cool. And we are actually wrapping up, I believe, in 2 weeks. Cohort 11 will be graduating, and Cohort 12 will start right after Martin Luther King Day in January. So if that's something you're interested in doing, definitely be on the lookout for that application. BizWiz, which is what I'm over, is we like to call it Squad for Small Business Owners. So essentially, it's an online portal housed on our website where you're able to submit one-on-one business cases for a myriad of different things, whether it's legal advice, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking to get funding, but you don't have 12 Mondays to sit in Capital Connect, you can get connected through funders through BizWiz as well. So it's really an awesome tool, and like I said, it's 100% online, so you're not having to come in. Any questions you have about your business, if we don't have a provider for that, we'll do our best to leverage our network and find someone who does have those answers for you. Up next is kind of like Capital Connect, but it's for our young entrepreneurs, so ages 16 to 24. It's a 6-week program, so they go through something similar. They do go through a pitch competition as well where they get money, but they go through design thinking. We have people come in to talk to them about financials so that they're really understanding what it is that they're trying to go into business with. The main difference between our winter up next is that in the summer, businesses and business owners like yourselves get to apply to host an intern, and we'll pay that intern to come and work at your business. So they also get that professional development, and then they get that one-on-one work with an actual entrepreneur, which is really cool. And then our Hospitality Success Program is starting next Monday. That'll be our first cohort, and that is for our F&B, so food and beverage. And the idea around this
to really get you guys ready for procurement to get into those larger venues and stadiums. And so this first cohort was hand selected, but after that we will start opening applications for that. Those are just some of our core programs that we have. But today we're here for a Black Wealth Tour. So last year we did a Black Wealth Summit where people came together to talk about a number of different topics that Black entrepreneurs are interested in. And so the idea of the Black Wealth Tour is to take that larger summit into smaller spaces today, like we're in today, where you're able to talk about one or two topics and really get a good discussion going. So today we're under the pillar Black Entrepreneurship and essentially under Entrepreneurship 101. So we have some lovely members of the Alliance that have a bunch of different business. We try to mix it up. So they do a little bit of everything on this panel, so I'm really excited for you guys to talk to them and ask them some questions. But without further ado, I want to introduce them. They're going to come and give you the spiel. But if I can have our 4 panelists come up. There are some microphones. I have one of them, but there are 4 on the tables. And I do have some discussion questions we're going to go through. But definitely, if you have a question that you want to get answered by them, definitely feel free to shoot your hand up. This is your time to really pick their brains about their entrepreneur story, their ups, their downs, and all of that. So if you guys can just give them a round of applause with me. And then Mario is on his way up, but if you guys could just first start by giving everybody
your name and then your business. I know some of us have multiple businesses, so whatever you'd like to introduce, but just kind of let them know your name and your business.
I'm on. Oh, I'm on now. Hi, everybody. My name is Shania Malloy, or Chef Shania. I am the owner and head chef of Plenty Pastas Plus More Catering and Food Truck.
Hi, I'm Tanisha Molden. I am an attorney and I am the owner of Molden Law.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taquayan Brookins. I'm one of the many hat wearers that she was just alluding to. So I am the CEO and co-founder of this space that we're in, Motor City Mimosa. I also am a social impact consultant. I also own a sanitizing company and founded a nonprofit organization. I think those are all the ones that drive me crazy on the regular, but it's probably some more down there that are less hectic. So those are some of my roles.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Mario Kelly. I wear many hats also, like she does. I'm the owner and founder of Believe 313 Staffing and also Believe 313 Cleaning. And I just started a company recently called Believe in AI. Honestly, I come from a family of entrepreneurs and I would say freedom speakers. My mother, my grandmother owned the cleaners. My mother was as they say today, she had the bag. So, all I've known is to, follow your own mindset. So entrepreneurship chose me. I've worked plenty of jobs. I worked for Chrysler. I worked for Ford, but I was depressed. I was miserable when I was working those jobs, and they were great jobs. So I always felt like I can add more to the company or something like that, or I can do something different. So yes, entrepreneurship chose me.
I would say a mix, and I'm a Gemini, y'all, so be patient with me. But so like Mario, both of my parents were entrepreneurs. My dad still is an entrepreneur. He's been a full-time entrepreneur since I was about 11. But both of my parents had, either been entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs and had a day job. So I saw that growing up. And then my career was a little different. I started my career off in philanthropy. So I worked for an amazing grant-making foundation in the city of Detroit, where I was able to learn, grow, be developed, be supported. I was able to make mistakes. I was very young. That was my first real job out of college. And I really, really fell in love with philanthropy. But I had a tugging on my heart that I was supposed to be doing something more for community and not necessarily, just sitting in the ivory tower with my cushiony jobs and amazing benefits that I missed in that direct auto pay deposit. But so I knew that I wanted to do more. And being in a role like that, you get exposed to so much need. And me being from Detroit and my whole family being from Detroit and being the recipient of a lot of the programs and services that the nonprofits that we were funding were providing, for me, it was how can I make sure that other people, other organizations, other nonprofits that are not grant makers or are not, have these huge endowments can tap into someone that is capable, talented, and has the heart posture to want to support them. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but in my short summary, I'll say it was a little bit of both for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's a little bit of both, whether it chose me or I chose it. You guys, I had rather regular corporate jobs. I worked at Chrysler. I worked at GM. I was in-house counsel as an attorney at Flagstar Bank. But what I consider myself and the population that I help are first-generation entrepreneurs. Like my husband's also a first-generation entrepreneur. We didn't have entrepreneurs or business owners in our family. So when I got my, I guess, first real job out of college, which was GM, my family's like, you made it, you done, you good, you good, good. But as we know, things change very quickly in our economy and the way that we have to live. And I think what I always thought about is what I chose is I think I always had an entrepreneurial mindset, even in my positions that I had. I always saw it in that aspect. But as I grew and learned more about business, because my background's also in finance, is that it was more to be earned being the owner. I knew it was a lot more work, but when the opportunity came for me and my husband to start a business, I chose to start a business to help my family grow a business. And that business is now 10 years old. That's an insurance agency. And then I went in and started my law firm back again. I stopped practicing law to help my family grow a business, and then I went back in and started the law firm back up. So that is kind of, I would say, one is kind of both. Yeah.
Well, I actually chose entrepreneurship. I am a first generation entrepreneur of my family, as well as first generation college grad, master's student as well. But the reason I chose entrepreneurship was, again, to have something long term for my family. I have 6 nieces and nephews who absolutely love getting in the kitchen with me. Growing up, I was always in the kitchen with my grandparents, right? So just to have them admire what I do so much and want to be a part of that. And then just seeing my business so quickly grow from selling plates to doing pop-ups to being booked for weddings and now having my own food truck and getting ready to take my food truck to a new state. So just seeing that grow so fast and so quickly, I'm just happy that I did decide to choose entrepreneurship.
Okay, so the next question, what drew you guys to your specific industry? So we have some people in food, some people in law, and then just a myriad of things over on this couch over here. So was there something like a particular calling that made you think, okay, this is the line of work that I need to be in?
I'll start. So again, just growing up in the kitchen with my grandma, a lot of the recipes that I currently use are family recipes. So when I thought about becoming an entrepreneur, I'm like, I needed to do something that I really love to do. And it wasn't about the money. It was just, again, about the passion that I could really put into my food and my business for it to sustain long term.
Well, I went to law school, so we had to make something happen there after law school. But I think it was kind of both. You know what I need? Can you repeat the question again?
What made you like choose your specific?
Oh.
So even going to law school, is there a reason that you knew that you wanted to be a lawyer?
That's a good question. Yeah, I got you. So, so I was working at GM for several years. I knew I was going to go back to school, but I didn't know for what. And after I did some research, I knew I did not want a master's or MBA, and I just felt like that would limit me. That I would be stuck in finance, and I just thought that there was so much more that I could do than finance. That was just the first step. So when I started researching for law school, I said, you know, the skills of an attorney could take me further, and those were skills I did not have. I did not, I wanted to grow. I was not outgoing. I definitely was not sitting on stages talking to people. I was not out and about. Like today, I was out networking, and like right now we're streaming to my Facebook group. I wouldn't have done anything like that before. So there were skills and characteristics that I knew I needed to be successful in life. What that was, I didn't know, but I know I needed to build my character, and I felt like law school would give me those skills, and it did. So that's why I went that route.
How much time we got? I think to answer this question, I do have to do a little story, or to present it in a story, not a real story. So when I was younger, I used to suffer from like chronic pain, I'll just say. And I used to take a leave, and then after I took the leave, I would feel better in about 30 minutes or an hour. And so I was one of those kids that always like read the ingredients to everything, read like how things work, was always curious about like the inner workings of everything. I wanted to know as much as possible. And so I remember being a kid and just wanting to learn more about medicine and the body and how medicine could help heal the body, knowing how, you know, when I was going through my pain, I couldn't do anything. And so I was like, well, if people don't feel good, it don't matter what you want to be. You can't do it because your body is not well. And so I really wanted to study medicine. I didn't necessarily want to be a doctor because I was also a germaphobe, which will come up later. And so I went to school wanting to be a pharmacist, and I was just telling Dr. Shelby that I went and I kind of piloted the school's first pre-health track and got to shadow a couple pharmacies or pharmacists in my junior year of college, and was like, oh, oops, I don't think I want to do this. This sounds boring. And I also knew that I wanted to do more in community. When I got to college, that was the first time that my minor in college was Africana Studies, and I had gone to very white schools prior to that, and even my college was a PWI. But studying that degree track exposed me to so much about the world that I had never understood. I remember in high school when we talked about slavery in my AP history class, she was like, it couldn't have been that bad because, you know, they did, like, that was the tone of it, right? So I did not have that full, deep understanding of not only like what we have been through, but the implications of what happens now in the world and how they tie in. And so when I got to college, I was like, mind blown. Like, what? Why ain't everybody flipping tables? And we got to do something about this, right? But I also my major was biochemistry. And so I was like, well, I know that I don't want to be a pharmacist anymore, but I don't know what I want to do. But I know I want to help Black people, and I know I want to help community, and I got to help people. I don't know what that looks like. And so when I graduated, I was just like, well, maybe I just want to be in the health industry. And so I was applying for jobs, hundreds of jobs, like, pretty much every day. If I wasn't in class, I was applying for jobs because I was like, I can't go back home. I'm not living at home with my daddy. I got to have my own stuff and have money because I'm tired of being poor and all the things. And so I was applying for jobs in healthcare, just anything in healthcare. And I couldn't get an interview, never got, anywhere. And I applied for a job at Flagstar, ended up working there. But while I was working there in the underwriting department in the cubicle, I was like, this ain't life. Like, it's got to be something more. But I knew that I didn't know how the world worked. So my degrees were biochemistry, and then I had that undergrad in Africana Studies, but I did not know anything about business. Both of my parents had went to Walsh and studied business, and my mom used to bring up the newspaper to show me, like, this how you read the stocks and all of that stuff. But it was like I didn't understand anything, and I knew that I wanted to be a leader in whatever I did, or like run something. And I'm like, I can't run nothing if I don't know how. So I was like, let me re-enroll in school. So I enrolled in a dual MBA MSF program while I was working at Flagstar, started applying for jobs, and wrote an amazing cover letter that landed me a job at McGregor Fund, which is a whole nother funny story because I hated writing, I hated papers, I hated all of that growing up. And now writing is literally what helps me and my clients make a lot of money. So it's crazy how that circles back. But fast forward, sorry, I know I'm long-winded. Fast forward, I was working at McGregor Fund and really like looking to my left and my right saying, why am I the only, young person? Why am I the only woman? Why am I the only Black person? Like, this is not right. And I was going to conferences and people were talking about it, but people weren't doing things about it. So I was like, well, what can I do to do something about it? And so I was like, I don't want to just start another business or another nonprofit. It's a whole thing in philanthropy about we got enough nonprofits. Let's, double down and build the infrastructure that we have. But I ended up starting a nonprofit with the intention of teaching people like me how to be in philanthropy, about the philanthropic sector, because I was like, these jobs are amazing. Like, you already got the money, and we trying to figure out how to give away money. Like, that's a real career path. What? Everybody need to be over here. We got great benefits. It ain't no stress. I mean, they have, office politics like everyone else, but for the most part, it's a great industry, and I really wanted to get more people like me in there. So I started the nonprofit. Then the pandemic hit. Like, we had that's my board member, Tamika, right there. She's one of my founding board members for the nonprofit. We organized in December 2019, and then our next meeting was March 2020. So y'all know what was going on in the world. And so through the nonprofit, we were trying to do a lot of research to figure out, like, what can we do for Black people? How can we help Black people during this time? And one of the things that I learned was a reason that a lot of Black people were dying the way that they were was because of, X, Y, and Z issues. And so I said, put on my thinker hat, what can I do to solve this? And so that's when the first business came up, where I started the sanitizing company. I was like, well, if we come in and we sanitize homes the way that they do hospitals and all of that, maybe that could help, us not. And then we can employ the people that are losing their jobs, so that way we can kind of hit all the things that are happening in our community. So that led to the first business. But then I was like, oh, people are constantly coming to me, asking me for advice, asking me to help them do things that they have never seen me do. So I don't know why they're asking me to do them, but I do them anyway, and it turns out great. So I ended up wanting to really lean in on my consulting business, and ended up creating a trajectory for myself to say, okay, I know that there's money out here. I see it. I can leave my job. Like, it's safe. And it took a lot, because I had a very, very comfortable job. It was amazing. And now they're one of my clients, right? But just taking that leap of faith. I did not have a contract. I left a 6-figure job with a mortgage. I think I had just moved into my house maybe a year, less than a year after I left. I don't know. It was real quick. Amazing opportunity to just stay somewhere that trusted me, right? I left that job and decided to pursue consulting full time. Like I said, didn't have a contract in place, but I knew that they were out there and I would figure it out. I spent the month of January of the year after I left just really praying, and I joined the morning meetup with David Shands. I don't know how many real entrepreneurs in here that follow David Shands, but I joined the morning meetup and was every 8 a.m. every day talking to hundreds of entrepreneurs across the country, getting inspired but still crying in the shower like what I'm going to do because I ain't got no money. I got a little bit of my 401k left, but I used some of it to buy this house, all the things, right? And then I said, okay, I got till February 1st to figure something out. And then I think it was like, you know how God works. So it was like January 30th or something like that, 31st. And I was like, oh, I got an idea. I'm going to start, because I wanted to marry all of my passions. So I'm like, I'm going to start a technology company that does this, and it's going to help Black people get more contracts in philanthropy, and it's going to tie all this stuff together. So I wrote up a press release, and I sent it to all the media outlets. And on February 1st, they had published it, right? I was my own PR person. So I was like, yeah. Phone started blowing up. People started calling me, oh, yeah, Taquania, I've been meaning to tell you, so we want to get on your books for such and such and such and such. I landed my first 6-figure contract, I want to say March of my first year full-time betting on myself. And so since then, it's just been a series of just listening to God, having complete faith. When I say complete faith, it ain't there. I don't see it. It don't make sense. It don't add up. But every time I put my foot out, there's a stone there. And so there's a whole nother message similar to that of how we got to this space and what made us start this company. But I'm going to let Mario get a chance to talk because I told y'all I'm long-winded.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. We actually have similar stories. Unlike them, I don't have any college degree. I think I went to Murray Wright and stopped there. But what really led me to my career was COVID, March 2020. March 20th, 2020. It was nothing to do. Everybody was in the house. So I said, let me start a cleaning company. So I started a cleaning company, started advertising on Facebook, and the church reached out to me, and I had to buy $27 worth of products. So I went and bought the products to go sanitize the church, And then that halfway through that job, they recommended another church. Halfway through that job, they recommended another church. So that $27 led to like $4,500. So from there, it was like, I said, no, this is what I want to do. So I started cleaning homes, sanitizing homes, far as for COVID and different things like that for like a year and a half. It went from homes to a corporate job, a corporate office, a Ford Motor Company office downriver called Packrite. So that was my first six-figure contract with them. But within like a year and a half, I was like, no one was working. Everybody was getting unemployment and different things like that. So I decided to start a staffing agency to help people to get jobs. So we all have, we're all geniuses in some form or fashion, and my fashion is more so finding ways to help and try to fix that missing piece. So I seen that COVID was there, so I started a cleaning company. No one wanted to work. I started a staffing agency, and in 2021, Comerica Park, they reached out to us and said, hey, we needed 50 people to come clean the arena. We started with Comerica Park. We did such a great job there from 2021 to December. Ford Field picked us up, and then Little Caesars Arenas picked us up that following season. So within a year and a half, we went from $27 to a multi-million-dollar company. So I do have books in the back, and that's what it's called, the $27 Millionaire. So our stories are similar to it, but, it's just about trying to fix that missing piece in life. Is really why I chose the career that I'm in. So now the next thing is AI is making that turn, and I'm seeing that we all have businesses, but we don't have time to answer the phone. So this next phase of my life is called Believe in AI, but it's more so a call center business. It's an AI call center with emotional intelligence. So whatever you say, it's not like a regular bot when you call and they say press 1 to speak to Elizabeth, press 2. They answer questions instantly. Whatever question you have, it'll shoot the answer right back to you. So I'm just more so here just to try to fix that missing piece in life.
Okay, so thinking back to your first year in business, first year betting on yourself, what are some obstacles, if any, that you faced in that first 12 months? And were those obstacles that you were kind of anticipating, or things that came like totally out of left field? I wish somebody would have told me this before I quit my job, or whatever the case may be. So in those first 12 months.
Okay. Guess this question is for me. I was prepared at first. I reviewed the questions, but now I'm like, well, what's the obstacle? So I don't think when I first started, if I had many obstacles, because again, I got started just around COVID. No, just before COVID, actually. And people wasn't big on licensing for food businesses back then. So I didn't run into many obstacles until I started picking up those large events like the weddings and the large birthday parties at specific venues where they're like, where's your licensing, right? So I think just thinking about starting there, and then with my food truck, I had my food truck for a whole year, just paying on it, and it wasn't licensed, right? So, and although I had the resources in my back pocket, I don't know if it was just fear of what it would look like for me if people was really gonna support my food truck, I think that was a huge obstacle for me, because now that I am up and running and I'm all licensed and things like that, like I don't run into any issues that I did previously. But I think that because there's so many different layers to the food business, right? Selling a plate is different than selling a pan of food. Selling a pan of food is different than catering for 200 people. Catering for 200 people is completely different than doing a festival for 1,000 plus people, right? So having the pricing structure right for each part might have been my biggest obstacle just after the whole licensing thing, just because oftentimes I was selling myself short, looking at my competitors' prices versus really doing the math on what each plate and which each pan costed. So now that I have that all in the bag, I understand my worth, and I've realized that every customer is not my customer, and that's okay.
I think I kind of agree. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know is an obstacle in the beginning of that first year. I think if I go back to when we first started our insurance agency, that, I think everybody starts at zero. And I still remember that first week that you think that, you open up an insurance agency, that should be, everybody needs insurance, right? And the phones would be ringing, and they were not. They were not. So we had to dig in, and luckily my husband had tons of contacts from his previous employment, and got down to cold calling, which, and it coincidentally, my previous exposure, I was an advisor with Mass Mutual, was part of my training, was to cold call. And so just that obstacle of just getting past that and thinking that, oh, you just hang a sign out and people are just going to show up. No, you actually have to go out and do the work. And sometimes you got to do cold calls. I call it smiling and dialing, just smile and dial, and do it until you get to where you need to go. Luckily, those leads turn into warm leads, and we don't necessarily have to do cold calls anymore. And I have to say, starting from zero is not so bad. And just a plug from that, that agency has gone from 0 clients to over 5,000. So what started off no phones ringing and just going through the Rolodex for, I'm probably the oldest person in here, Rolodex, just going through the business cards and just sharing with people. That's what I would say, like, if that was an obstacle, what I tell people now, or I tell my clients now that I help coach, I said, just get out there and tell people what you're doing. That's all you have to do. Just tell as many people as possible what you're doing and share that with them.
I had a lot of obstacles, and I'll get to those. I'll also just speak to, I know I had a lot of things working for me when I started. And part of that was when I got my job at the foundation, the black woman that was working there really took me under her wing. And I remember going to a webinar around personal branding. And it was the first time that I was, 23? And it was the first time that I had seen it or heard of that or understood or saw like that level of detail around it. And I was like, oh yeah, like I don't have to be an entrepreneur to build my personal brand. It's actually better and more important to have a personal brand before you become an entrepreneur. And so I think my life was an example of that, because like I said, I wasn't even 3 months and I had already, had the phones ringing, and literally they have not stopped ringing. And I'm like, please, I can only do, all right. Oh no, we'll talk. Trust me, I got you in my brain. But so I would say that for anyone that is trying to, or is, starting a business, having a personal brand is like, I want to say 70% of the battle. And I would say making sure that your stuff is in order is a good, I won't say the full 30, but it's up there, right? So a lot of times we say, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z because no one does it. How do you know no one does it? Did you look to your left and your right? Because I guarantee you somebody else do it, right? So you have to figure out, okay, even if they do it, how do I do it different? How do I put my special whatever magic touch? Or even if it's, you do everything in yellow, right? It doesn't even have to be anything that groundbreaking, but just really understanding what it is that who you are, and then what it is that you bring. Back to your original question, though, I would say a lot of things. I'm going to talk about money, though, because we're talking about Black wealth. A lot of times people will say, oh, just get contracts, contracts. And, oh, if you get a contract, you good. It don't work like that. So a big thing that I learned my first year was how contracts really work. And I learned about the impact of net terms on cash flow and having a staff, a team, payroll, expenses that you pay people every week, but you don't get paid but monthly. So how do you make up that gap? Being very diligent about tracking your expenses, not just for tax time, but so that you can understand personally, okay, how much am I investing in X, Y, and Z, and is it worth it? And should I be scaling back, or is there a different way that I can do that thing so that it doesn't, weigh that heavy on my books? So the degree in finance definitely helped, but it was almost like, dang, I wish I didn't know, because I know a little bit too much. Like, ignorance is bliss, but I'm just joking. So I definitely think that when it comes to contracts, I have fine-tuned my contracts so much when it comes to doing business with me, just from experience and having not so great experiences, or even if I had an amazing customer, the questions that I forgot to ask around, like, okay, what are your payment terms? What are your payment methods? So even if it is a net 30, but they sending you a check, if you cash in a $10,000 check, it's not going to clear that day. So you have to also factor in that type of, extra time when it comes to meeting your other obligations. I will also say, when it comes to staffing, figuring out how to staff your organization, that was a challenge for me. I just immediately was like, I can't get no W-2 person. I'm just going to get a whole bunch of contractors, really digging into what the implications of that is for your business, the institutional knowledge that you have, that you impart in other people when you do that, as well as the opportunities that are out there. So a lot of the funding that was coming in, they were trying to fund people that had W-2 employees. So if you only had 1099s or whatever, you were missing out on, but you're still expending, those expenses. You're just not able to tap into those opportunities. The other piece is funding. I would say, so like now with my consulting business, I work with a lot of nonprofits and work with organizations that support entrepreneurs and help them, get funding. I think this year alone, I've helped raise over $2 million for other people. And so really, for me, my first year, I didn't know anything about, I was like, well, I'll just pull it from my 401k again. It's there, it's big, so I can keep pulling from it, right? It's mine. So I pulled from my 401k to start my first business. And then when I wanted to do like bigger things and I needed lending, I didn't have relationships with a banker, with a CDFI, and BBA wasn't popping and up and running like it is now. So I was just Googling and looking at social media and figuring things out, and I ended up getting a bunch of like business credit cards with personal guarantees that I'm probably still paying on. And so really not knowing how to fund my business was another big thing that I like. Now that I know what I know, I'm like, oh my goodness, my credit score would be 800. Like, I could have did things so differently if I would have known then what I know now about funding. I think also Detroit is such a special place. The supports that we have for entrepreneurs, for startups specifically, mind blowing. Okay, like the ecosystem here it's rich. The support is great. And so as a person that wants to start a business, you are in probably one of the best locations to do that when it comes to all the factors, right? Cost of living, wages, like how much you have to pay people, just all the things that go into being a entrepreneur, being a business owner. So biggest things for me were like learning about money, learning about contracts. I even share my contracts with people because I'm like, look, these are the clauses that I put in mine. Just something to consider, especially that dormancy clause, because I'm not about to hold on to your project for 6 months while I'm waiting for you to email me back, and then you think you're about to just get back up in the queue where you were. No, because I got other contracts that have been paying my bills these past 6 months. So definitely I would encourage entrepreneurs to really, really, first of all, have a contract in place, but also just thinking about all of the different scenarios and situations that could occur that impact your IP, your money, your whatever, your business, and having those be addressed in your contracts.
Yes, I'm going to piggyback off most of what you're talking about. The first part on my cleaning side was more so understanding contracts, understanding your business. Whatever business you're in, understand that. Because when I got one of my first contracts, I was about to bid maybe like $10,000 less than the last company. So I had to really learn how to bid, how to, budget fix my contract so I can be able to be up there within 95% of what the last company did have. Now with the staffing side, even though I would tell you I have all these big contracts, Ford Field and Comerica Park and all this, like she said, there's a net 30 on that, but really that means about net 45, net 50. Oh yeah, it's in the mail, so I had to learn how to budget my money, how to really get out and work in order to pay my employees, because I came into the game with a very, very low credit score, in the 500s. So I couldn't get a SBA loan. I didn't get a EIDA, whatever these loans were and grants they were giving out. I wasn't approved for anything. So I had to figure other things out in order to be able to get some money. And that was more so me putting my feet on the ground and getting out here working. But the biggest thing that I learned in the first 12 months was more so learning how to learn about net 30s. And then, like she said, Detroit is the richest resource city in the country. If you're starting a business, this is the best place to start a business right now. But at that time, in that 2020, 2021, it was like, get it like how you live. So what I can tell anyone, my biggest setback my first year was more so funding, trying to find the funding and being able to just had to get out there and get it on my own.
What resources have been most beneficial for you guys as business owners? Whether that's a person, a book, things you learned in school, different companies. What's been your go-to resource? Things that you share with other people when they ask you Mario, how are you so successful? What are you doing? What resource do you share with people?
Actually, that's why everything around me is called believe. It's a mindset. I believe that I'm going to make it happen. I believe in God. I've had this rubber band on for 4 years now. This is the first one that I bought. And it's just more so tricking my mind. It's a mind game. Life is a mind game. So I just trick my mind to believe that it's going to happen and I can do it. And then my wife, excuse me, but I am a cuss. I apologize. But, that's my SBA loan. When payroll, when we got 70,000, 80,000 sitting in the queue waiting, and it's on the 29th day, and hopefully it'll be here in 45 days. This is my go-to. This is my credit. She the one with the 790 that I can say, we need. Hey, that's just how it is. So, she helped me along for those days when, I had 112 people I had to pay on Friday. And I needed 50,000 to go pay for payroll this week, and I got to wait another 14 to 16 days for the money to come in. This is my go-to person. I was blessed to have a real East Side on my side.
I got one of those. If you know a male version of your wife. Anywho, okay. So a bunch of things, right? I talked a little bit about the morning meetup cruise, so that whole month of January, and I was still a member beyond January, but that was life-changing because I learned so many resources that I could use, as well as being part of a community. Mindset is so important in this journey, and not just in a superficial way. you gotta, like you say, like you gotta trick yourself to believe everything that you're saying, everything that you're reading and pouring into yourself. Your boundaries have to be number one when it comes to family, when it comes to clients, because people, if they could see a way in to get over on you, they're gonna do it. So don't give them that inch, right? A couple of things that worked for me really well. I read We Should All Be Millionaires. So January, in addition to like going to morning meetups and meditating, all of that, I was reading books. So I read We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers. I read Rick Ross' book. What was the name of it? Anyway, I read his book. I read Chillpreneur was another one of my favorites. I just read a lot around like, what is my why and why is it so important for me to do this, and how can I do this in a way that's not going to kill me, right? Chillpreneur. And so definitely those books helped. When it comes to like finding opportunities, I'll also be doing, sidebar, I'll be doing a fundraising clinic in October where I'll just do like 15-minute sessions with anyone, whether you're a nonprofit, a business, like show you where to go to find, you know, either funding or contracts or whatever for your business. But anywho, one of the resources that was really helpful for me, actually two of them, one of them is called Prosel and the other is called BidNet Direct. And both of those are opportunities to get alerts for or just view different contract opportunities from municipalities. School systems have their own similar thing. So really finding out, like, whatever your niche is, there is likely a bid platform or tool where you can go and find opportunities. So, and I can help you do that, but definitely like going out there and seeking opportunities. I invested in a business development person that was applying for stuff for me. What that did, even though she didn't, I won't say that because it's being recorded. But what that did was gave me a bunch of tools that I could use, and like I kept a lot of the things that she was using, and then when I go and bid on things, I like start there, but then I build it up and tweak it. So I have a folder in my Google Drive called Business Development, and it has everything from proposal templates to the insurances that they're gonna ask you to see your COIs, and like anything that I have come across where I've bid for something or applied for something and they ask for it, I have that just at my fingertips so that when people ask me or I see an opportunity, I can quickly take advantage of it and not have to, oh, wait, where is my this and where is my that? And so I would encourage every business owner to have a business development folder. And I can talk on and on about like different places to go for funding, but for women, not even just women, but Hello Alice and Skip are two additional places that post about funding for businesses. And there are often other opportunities. You just have to talk to me about where to find us because it's real intricate. But yeah, those are the things that really helped me, I think, especially in the beginning. Having not only that income from like what I was doing, but like applying for grants, applying for competitions, and just staying ready. So you ain't, got to get ready.
Stay ready. Resources, books. I'm always reading, and I read We Should All Be Millionaires. I actually became a part of the coaching community. I believed in coaching so much, I became a Hello 7 certified coach. So I went through Rachel Rogers' coaching program and got certified because coaching is, I have my own coaches, but I incorporated that. Even though I'm a law firm, I incorporate that foundation when I'm helping my clients. We talk through the mindset piece, because if I'm putting strategies for you to get together, your intellectual property strategy to generate more revenue, and you can't go out there, you're scared to be visible, that's a mindset thing. And it's all about, I say, you guys said about tricking yourself. One of the resources that I do, I don't even use her anymore. I would have a persona, a different person that I would turn into when I had to be up on stages like this, because I was so concerned about what I would say and what I would do, what Tanisha would say or do. So I had a different persona. Her name was Portia. I don't even use Portia anymore. So that's good. So Portia could come up here and say anything and be really confident and have the courage to do things. And was the great business person, multi-8-figure business owner. She could do it all, but now I don't even need her anymore. So use that persona to get it. The other resource that I did, and at the time I didn't know, it's like you said, walking out on faith and taking that step. You don't know why you're being drawn down this path, but you just have to do it. And sometimes only you understand and no one else around you. It looks crazy. I was out of law school, but this was 2007, 2008, and we all know what happened around that time. And I was offered a position at Mass Mutual as a financial advisor. Now, mind you, I just passed the bar exam, and I passed the bar exam, and I self-studied and passed on the first try. So I was good, but for some reason, it just felt so right to go through this Mass Mutual program. And why is because there was a skill that I still did not have, and that was sales. They were offering me an opportunity to go through their sales program. And from my research, the life insurance companies have the best sales program. And that's where I learned cold calling. And I talked earlier about starting the business with my family, starting an insurance company. And that cold calling came in handy. That's where it came from, and learning the sales skills. Earlier today, I was at another Great Lakes conference at the Suburban Soul Place and had a long conversation with another business owner. And we were talking about learning how to fish. And that's the sales skill, learning how to fish. And one of the gripes I have, and it is a gripe, and it's a two-for, because Detroit is such a powerhouse in giving all these resources. And one of my gripes is when people walk up to me and ask for grants. The first thing they ask for is grants. Okay, so I give you the grants. So how are you going to keep this going if it's supposed to be sustainable? If you don't know how to sell your product or service, the money's just going to go down the drain. So you can get the grants, and then what? Then what you going to do? So sometimes it's enough to have that buy-in, and Mario got that buy-in because the credit store. Because if you would have had the credit, you would have went out there and got the money, and then you wouldn't have learned the lessons. And sometimes it takes that. If I would implore to anyone, learn sales skills, read sales books. Shadow somebody, shadow other businesses to see how they sell, look at their processes, and do it over and over again, and do sales call. I give my clients assignments to go out and just talk to people and just sell. That would be my number one resource.
So for me, initially, I thought that the net 30 accounts, right, was the thing to be looking for. Again, because I think I'm probably the youngest entrepreneur up here.
Can you, because I know we were talking about net 30
so
a different way. She's talking about the way you want.
I'm talking about the gas cards, right? The quill. You order your business supplies from this store, and they give it to you on credit, but then you have to pay it back after 30 days, right? And using these net 30 accounts was supposed to build up your credit, so then you can go and get these bigger loans, right? And these net 30 accounts was supposed to support your credit, and again, allow you to then go to a bank and be like, I need $500,000 for my business, right? No. Not even, right? So I think for me, a few years ago, with the Business Alliance being, so new, I became a member. My biggest thing was finding like-minded people and picking their brains. Like, whether you are a CEO of a consulting company, whether you are a lawyer, I want to know your story. I want to know, what are you doing to make your business successful? So again, that's how I came across the Black Business Alliance. I am a Capital Connect alumni. So the funding that I got for my food truck actually came from my graduation with Capital Connect. From there, it kind of just led to other opportunities for me. The Business Alliance still booked me for many events that they do. I won a Comcast Rise grant last year. I won the Michigan Women's Forward grant this year. It was a pitch competition. So a lot of the foundations that I got from my business really actually came from the Business Alliance. I'm kind of like a Business Alliance mascot. When I'm out and I meet people and they're like, you know, we're talking about funding or we're talking about resources, I'm always plugging the Business Alliance, right? Because, again, they always come in so clutch, just with the biz whiz. Like, I use all of their resources. When I first became a member, I was at every single event, right? So I think the most beneficial thing that I've received from the Business Alliance, other than, you know, just completing the Capital Connect program and being able to receive my first business loan, earlier this year, when licensing my food truck, right? Again, I told y'all my food truck set for a whole year after I received it because, again, I wanted to make it my own. I didn't want to just put anything out there. I wanted a nice truck to pull. It's actually a food trailer. I didn't want to use a U-Haul truck to be pulling this brand new, built from the ground up trailer, right? So, again, it's set for a whole year. I also still work a 9 to 5. Just with being a first generation college graduate, you know, it's been hard for me to really pull away. But again, I make 6 figures there, I make 6 figures here, so it works for me. And I'm keep doing it until it don't work for me. But I let my food trailer sit a whole year. When I pulled it out this year to get licensed for all these events that I had already booked, many of my water lines had busted. And I didn't know until it was like literally the day before my inspection, and things started breaking out of nowhere. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So my boyfriend is no handyman, right? I had to order a water pump off Amazon. It literally came like the next morning of my inspection. He put the water pump in, the water's back working now. So now I'm like, I can have the inspection, but I had already called my inspector off, and I'm like, I had already called her off, and I'm like, the water's not working. I don't know what's wrong with it. She's like, well, call me when it's working, and I'll come out and do it. I called her a few hours later. I'm like, it's back working. Can you come out tomorrow? She's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. I won't be able to come out till next week. I had all these events lined up for the weekend because I'm like, this is my grand opening week. I'm going to pass this inspection. So I had a Business Alliance event, the Juneteenth big block party that we did over at the Easter Market. I was talking to Jackie. I'm like, Jackie, I'm not going to be able to do it. I had to cancel my inspection because my ward told her the whole thing. She's like, Shania, stay by your phone. I'm calling you back in 5 minutes. Little did I know what kind of connections the Business Alliance got, because Jackie called me back in exactly 5 minutes, and she's like, Shania, here's this inspector number. Give her a call. She said she can do your inspection. I called the inspector. She's like, when can you get it to me? I said, I can get it to you in a few hours, or I can get it to you tomorrow morning. She's like, well, I have to come to you. It has to be in a certain spot. It didn't work out that way. I literally pulled my trailer up to the health department in downtown Detroit in the parking lot, and she did my inspection. So again, just thinking about the connections that the Business Alliance have and just how they've supported my business and my business growth, and just being able to make those connections with other people and other organizations through the Business Alliance events. I'm going to just, again, say that's been my one of my number one resources. So,
Can I just double down? I mean, yes, also Business Alliance mascot over here, but it's so important for any business owner to be connected to an organization like an alliance, which functions like a chamber of commerce. If you absolutely need to, if you have a business, you absolutely need to be connected to a chamber of commerce or organization like MBBA. The things that you don't know will blow your mind, and you don't know them until you need to know the answer to them, right? So you need to be connected to an entity that has experience, has connections, that you're not reinventing the wheel. I cannot stress enough. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know, like, what's the benefit? I don't understand it, or I can't afford it, or whatever. If you can buy a website, if you can, before you even create your Instagram, before you pay Wix or whoever, your domain, whatever, you need to be connected to some sort of chamber, because that is where the deals come in. That's where the relationships are. That's where the bag is. If you say you have a business because you filed your LLC, you got your EIN, and you opened a website, okay. I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not going to talk about you too bad, but get connected.
I just want to add something to that also. Charity and Kai are really a blessing to the city of Detroit. They quit, well, I'm not going to say quit, but they stepped down from jobs that were real high-paying jobs for the city of Detroit. I think Kai had worked right up under the mayor. You know, Charity had worked with Creo. She was the head for the head department of Creo. And they seen that this was the hole that Detroit was missing. So they stepped down from those particular jobs to be able to create the Black Business Alliance. And it, like she said, you know, it's 3 years old. It didn't just start off like this. You know, it was a slow grind. So, you know, those two guys, we have to really, you know, tip our hats to them, you know, for being able to help us, because it's a lot of times I've had contract issues. I've had, you know, trying to get funding, and they were both there instantly, you know, with some type of connection that they have. So those two are really a blessing to the city of Detroit.
They did not ask us to say that.
I'm sure their ears are burning right now. So I have two more questions, because I do want to give you guys some time to answer questions, but just shift a little, since we are like all the bosses, writing the checks, creating the schedules. What does work-life balance look to each of you? Is that something we are prioritizing? I know it's easier said than done, especially when it's your business. So, but what does that look like?
I talked a little bit about my contract. So one of the things that I love most about my consulting business, which is my primary business right now, is I am very particular about who gets to work with me. And that's intentional because I value rest. We got these rest decks up here. I am a nap girl. I need my naps. I need to get my full 7 hours minimum. I need 2 hours before I get out the bed. Once my eyes open, I need to allow my body to wake up naturally. I don't like to just jump up. I don't have no alarm set on my phone. Like, I am so serious about Taquayan and my wellness and my well-being and my boundaries and my peace and all of that. And so for me, I know I'm a little unique because I'm single. I ain't got no kids. I got a dog, but, you know, I feel like a kid. So for me, it is how I'm able. Like, I could not do this if I did not prioritize my wellness, my well-being, my rest, my naps the way that I do. And I just want everyone to do that, right? Like, that needs to be a part of everybody's practice. And I know it's easier said than done. And I know you're looking at me like, girl, you don't know my story because you ain't got what I got. But I promise you, there is just something that is so magical when you're in alignment with your purpose, but also being mindful that you are human. And the people that are around you, that you surround yourself with, that you allow to share space with you, being very particular, even if they have money, right? You can't be bought. So even if they have money, you have to be very intentional about who you allow to be your clients, your customers, or whoever. I have a clause in my contract that talks about psychological safety, that talks about, like, if I don't feel the vibe right, this might not work and we might have to cut this contract. Like, that's how serious. And the way that has protected me, my peace, the way that it has allowed me to find my customer. I literally, I had a really heavy loss last month, and because of the set of clients that I have we're all like this. And so I tried to have a meeting like a couple weeks later, and I brought it up, and they were like, so you ending this meeting, right? Like we could talk about this another time. You go, take some time, you do what you need to do. They weren't like, well, you already late, because I'm already late on that project. You already late, and we need to da-da-da, and we already paid. It wasn't that energy, right? And that's because I have surrounded myself with clients who are like-minded, who have similar heart posture. We have a shared vision. They know that I'm not playing with them and playing with their money, and they know I'm serious. But also, I just have created an atmosphere around me of peace, of grace, and shown that and received that. So I cannot iterate enough how important it is to have self-care.
Well, for me, I'm a little opposite because, again, like I said, I still work a 9 to 5. I absolutely love my 9 to 5. It don't feel like a 9 to 5 for me. So I'm the type of person that go really hard, and I will have like a month's long of events, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going on vacation next month. Like, take me out of the country. So I kind of balance in that way, but I also only work my catering business during some nights, and then always on the weekends. But again, I pick and choose the events that I do now. I used to do every pop-up that I can just to be in the room, but all rooms aren't good rooms, and all money isn't good money. And if it's not gonna really benefit my business, I'll turn an event down very quickly. So I'm all about really right now just, again, doing what will keep me sane. Like, I'm not doing events that's gonna drive me crazy or mess with my inner peace. So
Excellent. You mentioned a couple of words that are very important to me, and that's the one word, intentional. Right now, we're streaming to my Facebook group, which I call the Intentional Wealth Project. Feel free to join. But I call it the Intentional Wealth Project is because I'm like, what am I really trying to do? And what am I trying to help other people do? And I am very intentional about my actions and what I do, who I spend time with, how I spend my time. And all this is to build wealth, and I think of it as a project. So, and that kind of helps me work through my days, work through how hard or how challenging it is. It's just it's just another project. Got to go out and, check off the list for a little bit. But when it comes to balancing that, the point of that building wealth is I'm building a business to support my life. My life is not there to support the business. So that way of thinking has helped me say, how can this support the ideal life? I get up and every morning, and my goal is to live my ideal day. And I am on track because I get up every day. I don't set an alarm clock. I still wake up at 5:30. So I get up 5:30. That's when I get up. I do my yoga. I do my meditation. I exercise. I go outside for a walk. I have time to take, see my son off to school. I see my husband off. And then I usually work from home. I used to work in the office, but I work from home, and I put in some days I'm like, okay, I put in a whole 8 hours. Sometimes I don't. I get and pick and choose what clients I want. The one piece that's missing, I'm still working towards, is that when we do our virtual meetings, is that people will see the beach in the background, the real beach, not my fake beach, the real beach. But right now, Michigan is home. So that's what I'm working towards, that in the next, have my ideal life and set that's my happy place. And to pick and choose my clients, and that's the, having the boundaries and setting that up on my ideal day also includes the ideal client. And setting up the boundaries, and I think you said that too, having the boundaries in place and being very firm and be unapologetic about your boundaries. No is a complete sentence. That's what I tell my clients, and I gave somebody an assignment. No, period. No explanation. You don't have to explain it. That's just That's your boundary, and stick to it. If you can't hold yourself to boundaries, nobody else is going to do it. They will run right over you. Like they will run and steal your time, and you cannot get your time back.
I know you gotta go. One thing, one of the questions you asked was like something that we wish we knew or something like that. The people that you give discounts to are going to be the people that give you the most stress. Don't you discount your services unless it's for the MBBA, but don't you discount your services. Don't do it. That's going to be the client that's going to ask for the stars, the sun, the moon, and look at you crazy when you ain't got it done in 3 minutes. Like, do not discount. I don't care if you knew. I don't care if you've never done it before. Bet on yourself. But charge your rate. Your rate is your rate. And anyone that is, now it's, of course, I'm speaking very generally. There's circumstances and all of that. Maybe you want to barter. Maybe, you have a service and they have a service, and you do, like, there's ways around that. But as far as your money, do not discount your service. Do not go. If somebody is asking you for that, then they're not your client. And there are people that they can go to at their price range. You don't go to the Benz dealer trying to pay hoopty prices. Like, you came here, so you must want this package, and this costs this much. So I've personally, and just from being a consultant and watching other people experience it, seen how literally it's like a formula. If somebody is asking you for a discount, they're going to give you gray hair. So I just wanted to make sure that y'all know that before y'all leave here.
So you said life and work, right? How do we balance that? Well, even as a successful entrepreneur, you can still learn from people, because you have to understand, like I said, I started with $27. So if you will allow me to come to your house at 4:30 in the morning, I'm there. I wish I was able to, get up and take an hour rest, 2 hour, let my body depress from last night. So as of recently, I'm learning how to balance that, and that's with systems. I feel like if you don't have systems in your business, you don't have a business. It's at some point it's going to run out. But especially when you're in a house with another entrepreneur, it's really like, it's kind of chaotic sometimes. She's on the go, I'm on the go a lot. So there's really no life and balance. It's just really like work. We're trying to get to it, get to the end game. But I understand how you say, you want to pick and choose who you want to work with. In the staffing industry, I don't really believe it's like that, especially working in the stadiums. My ultimate goal is to be in 30 states, 70 cities, any stadium most stadiums need cleaning. So you're going to run into racism, companies, Aramark, who's going to be the business manager of that stadium in Texas is going to be an asshole. So sometimes you have to learn how to maneuver, be in a room with how to move in a room full of vultures. That's my obstacle. So, but I'm learning though. That's a good thing that I can learn from entrepreneurs, to say, hey, pick and choose who you want to work with. Everybody is not your client. But as of right now, it's just more so we're trying to get to the end game. So I don't really have a life. It's more so work, especially like I said, I just wrote a book called The $27 Millionaire, and I don't believe I would have got to this point in 4 years, just trying to balance work and life. It was more so like, we got a job to do. I'm still working myself. I have a job. I work every Sunday right across the street. And most of the time, I'm still supervising and checking in on a lot of my accounts and my employees, because, like I said, as of recently, I'm just putting in a lot of new systems that can do that for me. But also, it's trust. You have to really be able to trust somebody and find the right person to be able to supervise this particular location for you that you trust. So, those are the two things that I'm working on right now: systems and trust.
My final question is, if you guys could pinpoint one specific moment since taking that leap into entrepreneurship, what has been your proudest moment thus far? Right, because we're all on the incline, but what's been your proudest moment as a business owner, as an entrepreneur thus far?
Well, I think my proudest moment, I just looked at the September 24th today. So September 22nd, 2 years ago, and what's crazy is my brother just walked in. I was on the #1 financial literacy show called Earn Your Leisure. I got interviewed by Troy and Richard 2 years ago, 2 days ago, actually on the 22nd of September 2022. And that just spreading me across the whole United States. You know, when I went to Invest Fest this past weekend, it was crazy for people to come up to me and want to take pictures and just like, bro, I need to ask you this question. I want to ask you this. And like looking at me as I was like a celebrity. You know, I'm like, I'm Mario. I'm from the east side of Detroit. I'm Carol's son. That's what I always say. But I think that was really my proudest moment because, you know, those guys put me on a platform where I was able to now get accounts in other states, Texas, Boston, Seattle, different things like that. And like I said, be able to go to places where now they're paying me, you know, a nice amount of money to come speak or to come to their school. They're buying a certain amount of books to come speak to the kids at the school. So that was really like one of my biggest moments outside of my kids.
You know, when you're an entrepreneur, you have these goals and you set the goal, and as soon as you hit it, you're like on to the next one. And you one of the things with work-life balance is taking time to appreciate when you do have those moments. And I think of two instances that have come up in the past, I guess 60 days or so, is one with, I know I said I worked in-house counsel at a bank. So it was nice when a bank approached me to do a workshop for them jointly. So it was like they reached out to me to work with them to do a workshop based upon the work that I'm doing now. So I felt really proud about that. That kind of told me that I'm making the right steps. I'm stepping out. Of course, we don't need Portia anymore because they asked Tanisha to show up. They didn't ask Portia. And the other proud moment is taking the time to help my family build the business. And that moment in time, about 30 days ago, where my husband stopped in the parking lot while we were walking out our office, our building. I was seeing him off. He was going off to sign to a closing, to finish the closing of another agency we had acquired. And he stopped and turned to me and said, "We did it." And I'm like, and I really looked at him. I said, "Did what? What we do? We still working. What did we do?" He's like, "We did it. It took 10 years, but we did it. We got to a multi-million-dollar agency. And we said we were going to do it because we made a plan for 5 years. And there were obstacles. There were things that happened that kind of slowed us down, but we never slowed down." He just turned and said that we did. And I was like, "You're right. We did do it. I didn't even." So in taking a moment to recognize even that's maybe a big thing, but even the little things, just taking time to say, "Oh, I did good today. What did I do? Oh, I made all my calls. I was supposed to call 100 people, and I did that." Give yourself a pat on the back and do that, because you're going to need every ounce of support there, because entrepreneurship is lonely. We have our tribe, or I like to call my squad, my accountability group, my squad. But at any moment in time, it's only you making the decision. And you got, journal about it, write about it, and give yourself your props that you showed up today. And if you didn't show up, that's okay. Talk to yourself, get right back up, and show up the next day and give yourself credit, because you're doing things that many people would not even dare to do.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to just say I'm proud to be in this moment right now. Like she said, just really appreciating the small things. My business will be 7 in December, and just looking at how far I've come, I'm just proud to be here in this moment to continue seeing my business grow, how it's growing. I'll be releasing my cookbook and re-releasing my line of seasoning blends with it this December for my business anniversary. So that is done, but it's not here yet, but it's done. So I'm very proud just being consistent and having, having my family be proud of me and really being a staple for my family. And also being able to plan to take my business to the next state. I'll be moving to California at the end of this year. So I'm just super excited with that. And I think that's just going to give me that push that I needed to now become a full-time entrepreneur and really give my all to my business, because I know what it would look like if I've really been able to really put my all into it. And just being able to move to a new state and, just kind of rebuilding from the ground up really is just one of my proudest moments right now.
Just to piggyback on while she's thinking, also is becoming an author. Being able to put all of my accomplishments and my journey from A to Z into a book. And like I said, I'm sitting on the stage with, master degrees, doctors, lawyers, and like I said, I have a high school diploma. But now an author is like one of my most, it's what I'm very proud of, honestly, outside of, like I said, being on Earning Leisure, just being able to put, all of my journey into a book and becoming an author and helping other people out. And it's not really just about my journey, it's also about helping entrepreneurs just believe in the 19 isms. Dan Gilbert has 19 isms. I know somebody in here has worked for Quicken Loans. I've never worked for Quicken Loans, but I always felt like if this billionaire is thinking this way, why can't I think like that? And that's really what got me to this point of like understanding that money and numbers don't lead, they follow. Understanding just, hey, we'll figure it out. It's like what you said, you'll figure it out. I had your food truck was just sitting in the back forever, and you'll figure it out. So, and also writing this book, I was able to meet Dan, and he was just like, this is amazing, because most people feel like his isms is brainwashing. For somebody else to be on the outside and just really, accepting them and bringing them in, he was really proud. We got to sit down and talk for a second.
So this question is difficult for me because I feel like I haven't had my proudest moment yet. I've had so many, literally every week, something like, what is happening in my life? So I resonate with a lot of the things that I've heard. I've done a lot of the things that I've heard. The two things that came to mind when I first thought of it was the first time that I fired a client. And really stood on my boundaries and was able to fire a client. And that's a weird kind of like pessimistic way of like saying what you're most proud of. But I was very proud of that moment because I was like, wow, here I am like turning down thousands and thousands of dollars just because somebody just don't align with me and we don't vibe. And I can just see the toxicity and the peace being disturbed. And that's not what I want for my life. I think that this space that we're in, I was extremely proud. This is my first brick and mortar. I've been an entrepreneur, honestly, since I was 6. I was writing business plans. Like, I love business and infatuated with all things operations and business. So, but this was my first brick and mortar. I've always had like home-based or service-based businesses. And so when we got the keys in June, I was like, oh my goodness, I actually did it. Like, now we got to pay the rent. But anyway, but I would just say that my proudest moment probably hasn't happened yet. Because I am a social entrepreneur, though, a lot of my clients are nonprofits or at least enterprises that have some sort of community give back component to them. And the impact when I'm able to go to a client who is in distress or has a vision for something that they've never done before, and I'm able to implement that either by like helping them execute it or help them get funding for it, and just the pride, the relief, the joy that brings, and then the ability that for them to do their work better. That alone, I mean, I've helped over I forget what the numbers on my website say, but over 2,000 organizations, businesses, entrepreneurs. I've raised millions of dollars in a short amount of time. I didn't even know about the statistics around what entrepreneurs, female and black entrepreneurs usually make their first year. And I was like, if I was making that in a year, like I understand why everybody has businesses. So those are things that I never had to worry about. And so I was proud that I had spent literally my whole life from the time I was 3 years old. I've been going to school since I was 3. Literally my whole life building my personal brand, not knowing that's what I was doing. But when I decided to take the leap of faith and start my businesses, people trusted me because they're like, Taquayan is smart. I had built the brand of being smart because I've been in school forever. Taquayan is trustworthy. Taquayan is a nice person. Taquayan is going to get it done, right? And I had been building that brick by brick my entire life. It's one of the reasons why I kind of struggle with people coming to me asking me to coach them, because I'm like, I don't know how to package what I've been building since I was 3 into a course that you could take in 6 weeks and pay me some money, and then you're gonna have the results that I have. Like I don't know how to do that yet. Sorry, but I think that I'm very proud of the work that my clients are doing, and living vicariously through their impact helps keep me moving forward when it gets tough. I won't say my tribe helps me not feel lonely, but it definitely gets tough and dark. And like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then, of course, it always happens. But I would just say, stay tuned. I'll let y'all know when I have my proudest moment.
The floor to see if anybody else in the room had any questions for any of the entrepreneurs on the stage. Okay, go ahead.
Plug for the west side, back to the east side, plug your butts. Your story is my story. A little bit about me. I'm an ER doctor, been in school all my life. Kind of got to the pinnacle of the ER, the medical director, chair, all of the things. But I'm not happy with it right now. So I've got so many people saying, why don't you be happy? Make your own schedule, you travel. You don't have kids, none of that matters. Have a husband, live a great life. So now I'm trying to figure out what's that next thing. Because I'm scared of it. I'm scared of failure. And also, I was that person. I'm the one with credit, with funds, and that people scare me. And so I need to build that team and that tribe, and I'm trying to figure out what's next. Trying to combine travel, wellness, and health, and just, helping people. And so I'm kind of just on the potter's wheel right now, doing stuff like this, meeting people. And so I just want to thank you guys for sharing your story. I see a little bit of myself in all of you, especially being a lawyer, stepping out. People probably like, you're a lawyer. Why would you want to go and do something else? You have a 9 to 5, you had a great job. And so it was like really refreshing to see that in a year or so, maybe you guys will see and be like, oh, I remember when she was just there, down here, and now she's up there. So thank you.
No problem. But the first thing I can tell you is you can't be scared. I got some rubber bands in the back too. I want everybody to grab one. And like I said, that rubber band will, at that time when you are scared, you can look down and say you got to believe in yourself. Because nobody's going to do it. If you're an ER doctor and someone is sick and hurt,
The ER I'm a beast, but when I'm real shy and reserved, most people like in the ER like I'm running things. I'm saving lives. And so when I'm in my regular life, I don't want to do all that because I'm always on the go, always doing this thing. It's ADHD, which is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. So shutting my brain off. Because I have all these ideas, and a lot of ideas I give other people and they act on it. I kind of just sit back now because I'm like, I'm not sure.
You just got to believe in yourself. You just got to have faith. Honestly, all I can tell you is just have faith in yourself. Continue to pray and ask God what it is, because like I said, we all have some type of genius level talent. And it sounds like you're a body smart person, so your field is going to be in some type of health field, doctor, maybe your own clinic or something like that. But you just got to really jump off that mountain of faith.
I would add that you're not wrong to be scared as well. I think it is scary. There are going to be some things that happen in this journey that a regular sane person that, don't talk to themselves all day and do these mind tricks that we got to do to say, like, you're not wrong to be afraid. But also, like Mario said, like if you don't believe in yourself more than anybody else on the planet, like you're doing yourself a disservice. So you have to have that level of confidence, conviction, and that was a big reason of why I spent my first month being unemployed, really meditating and talking to God. Because I'm like, whatever it is, I'm gonna do it. But I want to make sure that this is what you want me to do. It wasn't just about like, what do I want to do? What I'm good. I'm good at a lot of things. So it was very hard for me to just go and pick like, okay, do I do this? Do I do that? And so I really wanted to spend time talking to God, asking, what is it that you want me to do? Is in every idea or that I felt like was coming from him, like running that back. Like, is this what you were saying? Is this what you wanted to look like? So I would just encourage you to spend some time in meditation and listen to what he's telling you.
I would add on at a particular time when I was at another event, someone in the audience asked me how do I get the confidence to do what I do. She said that she had been through all the schooling, the master's, MBA, all the things, and she just feels scared to get out there and do things. And how am I confident enough to sit up here and talk to people? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. And I was like, I don't know if it's necessarily confidence. I wouldn't call it confidence. I would call it courage. Because courage is doing it scared. That's what it takes. Just be courageous. It's okay to be fearful. You will be scared. And do it anyway. That's where the courage comes in. Confidence comes from doing. That comes later. You get confident from doing. So it's just a matter of doing it scared anyway. And sometimes being scared, the fear, that's the wall. That's your brain trying to protect you. That's okay, but that is your growth. That's where you know, if I'm scared, as soon as I feel like I'm scared, I'm like, oh, that's where I need to go. That's where the growth is. I need to do that because I'm afraid, I'm afraid. I call it scared excited sometimes. So I'm scared and excited at the same time. But you have to do it. Or else you're going to sit there and you already know because it's ruminating in your head over and over again because you haven't crossed that threshold. The door's there. You're not turning the knob and going through. And that's where it's going to keep coming up. And that's God speaking to you. You got to go through the door. You got to go through the door. You're not going to grow if you don't do it. And you're just going to wonder why every day. The other thing I would say, and something that I do often, is give myself the space, get away. And being in wellness, if you want to do retreats, just take your own medicine. Go away for whatever, a weekend. This past weekend, I went away with the family for the weekend. The weekend before that, I went away on a girls' trip. I plan trips with my husband 7+ days. I plan retreats for myself in the hotels. I stay a couple of days by myself. Give myself a chance to get away from it all and think and be alone and meditate and pray about what are my next steps, and let that clarity eliminate all this other stuff so you can think clearly about what you need to do and feel confident in here inside that you're making the right move for you and not what someone else wants you to do.
If I could just add, creating a solid plan, because although my food truck was sitting for a whole year, it was part of my plan I'm not going to say not for it to be sitting there, but it was progressing as it was sitting there, right? It wasn't something that I just jumped head into because I didn't have all the ducks in a row. I didn't have all my ducks in a row. I didn't have all the information that I needed. So creating that solid plan and knowing that because you do have all that experience, you can always go back to the ER, right? So again, creating a plan, having a solid plan, and although things don't always go as planned, just having that plan there, and again, like they said, taking that leap of faith, and using that fear to fuel what you know you deserve, okay? And just manifesting it. I'm a big believer in manifestation, speaking things into existence and really working towards it.
Something was pulling me here, it was raining, I'm like, oh no. So this was really good. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and I'm sure all of us here do, so thank you.
Any other questions? When it comes to law, do you specialize in a certain type of law? Like, do you do contract law?
Yeah, so I work with, so I would call myself, if you wanted to put me in a box, and I've been known to send messages, don't put Tanisha in a box, but I'm a business attorney and intellectual property attorney. With that said, I really don't think of myself as an ordinary attorney because I incorporate coaching into my how I deliver my services. So although I believe in planning, yes, you should have a plan, putting a strategy together and working through that. At the same time, there's a method to the madness. And I let my clients lead that. And one of the first things that we do is create a vision plan. What is the vision that you have for your life, for your business, and what does the revenue look like? Because we're not in this, we're not a charity. So how does that all affect? And one of the things that I see a lot of business owners that don't have, they may have the business plan, but they haven't worked out the vision of what this looks like. Like I said before, my vision is the beach. If it ain't moved, how are we going to get closer to this beach? That's what I want to know. So I would say all the things, the tools that I use, the legal tools, the contracts, the trademarks, the copyrights. I educate my clients on patents and trade secrets. All those are tools that go into the strategy on how we're going to get to the revenue. Yeah. Yeah, it's a broader perspective in the sense that it's a more customized plan. The goal is always revenue. The goal, that's the ultimate goal. The goal is always, we're leaning towards revenue because we're in business. But at the same time, we're building a life. And also the goal is to grow as business owners. I'm not going to do anything, I don't want to do anything different for you that I wouldn't do for myself. I'm always learning, I'm always growing, I'm always reading, and everything that I learn I share with my clients. And I want you to grow as the CEO, as the business owner, and grow from the point of being a solopreneur to a business owner that you could go away for a month and not worry about your business is still growing because you put in the work and the time and the education and know your numbers. They know their numbers. Know your numbers, and you can watch from afar. But at the same time, it's about understanding the strategy and getting other people on board on your vision. I had a consultation just the other day, and I've been known to give homework just in the discovery calls. Before we even get to work, I spot things, and you got homework, and let's see what happens when you come to the consult. Because at the same time, I'm testing to see, are you going to be the type of client I want to work with? And this gentleman came to the consultation. He said, before we even get started, I want to let you know I wrote out my vision statement. I did everything you said. I wrote out the vision statement. I shared it with my partner, and they're on board, and this is what the vision statement is. I said, that's my type of client. He did the homework, without doing, and he was taking notes on what I gave him more homework, and he was doing it. He's like, I'm writing it down, I'm doing it. So you have to do the work. I can provide the tools, the strategies, the tactics, all the things, but I can't want it more than you.
I can relate to everybody's story here. I can relate to yours because I wanted to be a ER doctor. That was my journey. And then just this year, in April, I officially became an entrepreneur. I own a product development company, and I'm actually sitting on 2 products that can be multi-million-dollar products. My first product I'm actually selling in 2 Myers locations. There's the Meyer downtown on Jefferson and the Meyer Royal Oak. It's called
barrier that I'm having is, one, I do know that sometimes it's who you know and not what you know, and sometimes it's a combination of both, so I get that. But for me, I am in need of like buyer contacts, procurement contacts, and I would love to know how you got in front of Dan Gilbert, because one of my goals is to get it's a custom luxury liquid hand soap, by the way. That's what I'm selling in buyer. But I would like to get it into the newly built Marriott, that'll be downtown. Also in Dan Gilbert's hospitality properties, like his properties. And also in big box retail stores nationwide, like Target. So, just wondering if anybody can help, or a guy can.
I got like 5, because you kept talking, and I was like, I got a thing. And then you said something, I was like, I got a thing. And this is something. So I got like 15 things I want to say, but I'm not going to say them all. But I'll just say, one, I am interested in your hand soap for our bathroom. So that's number 1. Pure Michigan Business Connect. Pure Michigan Business Connect. Pure Michigan Business Connect. I don't know if Tanya's still there, but Pure Michigan
She
Business.
said that like 4 times. I hope you're writing this down.
Anybody write it down?
And then just pretty, and this is just a general rule of thumb. Pretty much any company, organization, hospital system, whatever, they have some sort of supplier diversity, something on their website. Where if you go into the little small print in the footer, you can go register, and then once you register and put in all your information, then you will get alerts about different opportunities. You'll also get emails. A lot of the organizations do like supplier connection, networking meetings and stuff like that, where you meet the buyers of a lot of the systems. I think my first year of entrepreneurship, I went to so many of those, so I can talk to you about like preparing for those and how to activate on those as well. You have a product, so you're ready, and you have something to sell, and you can activate that. So I think that would be a good thing for you to do. So yeah, those were the ones that I just wanted to quickly tell you. But we Range Me. Okay, I was going to say, because you said Target, and I was like, I think Target and Meyer are Range Me things as well. But yes, Pure Michigan Business Connect.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that first come to my mind is I look at your competitors, and that's one of the foundations that I look at with my clients, your competitors. I have no problem stalking, online stalking, and telling my clients to stalk competitors. And I say that in the sense that look at who are they posting about? Where are their products? Who are they hanging out with? So, because those people can be your friends too. And that's sometimes the easiest way to get in. And sometimes your competitors can be your friends. I really don't think there's any competition because everybody is unique. But that would be something that the first thing that came to my mind is, what are your competitors doing? Who are they hanging out with? Where are they posting? Where are their products and services? Because they're bragging about it online, and you can get in there and figure out how to get in too.
Because my competitors are Dial and Soft Soap. I've never seen their face. Like, I don't know who they are, and my product is literally next to theirs on the shelf. So, and it's a lot of gatekeeping also. So I try to use LinkedIn, I try to network. It's like, oh, good luck, and you just figure it out on your own. So it's been a little difficult, but I still persevere and continue to fight,
Congratulations. I really think that is amazing. That would be like a marketing plug I would be doing. Like, I'm right next to Dial and Soft Soap, and this is where you can find right next to. That right there. And why don't you have me on your shelves, whichever company or big box that you're looking for? I'm right next to Dial and Soft. Why aren't I'm here at your store and I don't see me next to your? I would call that out.
Do you have some soap with you today? It's in the car, right?
Always have your product.
It's in the car,
Always.
right? And it's in the trunk.
I don't.
Oh, man.
I have
come
like
on.
my demonstration set up like in my trunk, but not my soap.
Okay. The first thing, like she said, with your competitors, competition. I used to always be a person like, oh, I'm my own competition. Until I got to the level of staffing 50, 60, 100 people and being very consistent with it. At one point in time, we were like 92% with our clients, meaning that if they said they want 100 people, we were getting at least 97 people. And then my competition actually sent someone to work for me. So, you have to really, like she said, know what your competition is doing. From that point on, I was like, okay, I got to learn what they're doing, where they're hanging out, what they eat, what their wife and husband likes. So I don't look at it like I don't have competition. So any staffing agency in the city of Detroit, if it's Kelly Services, if it's Forge, if it's Minuteman, that is my competition. And I try to find out what they're doing and what's the niche that I have different from them. What am I doing? What am I doing different from them? Now, as far as with the Dan Gilbert story, it was just more so, like I said, with the isms. So all my employees wear shirts that have some different ism on the back of it. And we clean Shinola, the watch company, the headquarters. So his cousin works there. His name is Steve Kassman. And on the back of our shirts at Shinola, it said, "You will believe it when you see it." So he seen that, and he asked, he wanted to talk to me. He was like, "So where did you get that saying from?" And I started telling him about the isms and how they affected my life and different things. And he was just laughing like, "That's crazy, because nobody ever talks about the isms like that." And he was like, "Can you make a video?" I was like, "Why?" He said, "I'm going to send it to my cousin." I'm like, "Who's your cousin?" He was like, "Dan Gilbert." I said, "Well, something where I'm from, your cousin is like, this is my cousin. I've known her for about an hour. So this is my cousin." But he's like, "No, this is, our mothers are sisters." So he said, "I'm going to send him the video." So I did the video for him, and he said he sent it over. I still was like, "Yeah, okay. All right." So Dan Gilbert was doing a podcast. Was doing a panel downtown, and I signed up. And I went and had a shirt made. On the back of it, it said, "Numbers and money follow, they don't lead." And when I wore it in there, everybody was just laughing, like, "Oh, look at this shirt," taking pictures of me and everything. And when he was, as soon as he came off the stage, I V-line right there, and he's like, "Oh, you're the cleaning guy." And that just like knocked me out, like seriously, like blew me away that he was like, "Yeah, you're doing great things, and let's sit down and have a conversation." And then that's when the book came out, and I gave him a book. So, each chapter has a different ism that affected my life at that particular time. So, just helping him with the isms and everything. I think that's how it aligned us.
Something that I'm doing, because I'm a consultant and a business owner, I'm not only always thinking about my business, but I'm thinking about everybody else's. So I can't go nowhere without doing something business related. So I was in Puerto Rico trying to mind my good business. I was at a board retreat, and they had their key cards that they used were beautiful. They were like wooden and etched and just like gorgeous. And I'm thinking about, because we're a membership-based organization here in iHouse, I was like, "Ooh, this would be really cute. Like if they was black, and then we could get the." So I was like, I wonder who they used to get the. So when I left, because I didn't have time before I checked out, I called. I said, "Hey, I just was there, and I really love y'all key cards. Can you connect me to somebody who like does purchasing for your whatever?" Yeah, got the information, found out who, like, literally, if you call a hotel, you can do that. Like, you can call and say, "Hey, can I speak to your purchasing department, accounting department," or whatever the case, and talk to them about, like, well, how can I, do business? Like, you don't have to necessarily wait until you log into Pure Michigan Business Connect and see when they do a supplier diversity networking thing again. Like, you can literally, if you know the organizations that you want to work with, literally call them. I started so many things during the pandemic, and literally everybody was at home. I was in everybody's inboxes on LinkedIn. "Hey, can you come to my nonprofit's virtual meeting and talk about what you do? I ain't never met this person. They all the way in DC, don't know me from a can of paint." Sure, doing it. Like, literally so many things, just reaching out to people. So I would say don't underestimate the value of, especially if you call somebody, because people don't do that no more, or go visit somebody in person. That alone will speak volumes. So it seems like it's like a lot of red tape, but sometimes it's literally just, you can call and talk to somebody.
Hyatt, and so they were like the CEO of Hyatt down in Chicago. They were testing it out for like 2 cents. Then they shipped some. They said it's not really for Hyatt, it's for like the Ritz and I forget the other name of the hotel. I can't think right now, but the Ritz and Four Seasons. Sorry. Then they sent some to
you're saying it's like a high-end soap, right? So why don't you take advantage of the niches that are around you? That's another ism. You have Shinola Hotel down here. You have the Godfrey. What's the other one that just Cambria. So these are hotels that want to be 5-star or want to be 4+ stars. I will bug them. I will go there, like you said, and contact the human resource. That's really one of the persons or the purchasing department. Give them 100 bars or something like that. Go down to Bedrock and ask for the procurement guy and give them some soap. And then take them some more soap next week to the point to where they don't have a choice. Really, it's not bugging them. And then, you got to put the ego to the side. And just because you have a product that we need, we all have to wash our hands. That was one of the biggest things, germs. So everybody, that's a product that the whole world needs. And then maybe donate some to some small place or some schools. Go to the school. So now you have that resume. But like she said, the biggest thing is my soap is right next. I would do so much content with these gentlemen and his wife at these different stores showing that my soap is between Dove and Dial. And so we're on that same shelf because I think most companies, when you get into those Meyer stores and you have a product, your stuff starts at the bottom. So I'm not sure. I've heard that, but for yours to be between them two soaps, that means something. So you got to use that to your advantage.
What's the name of your soap?
Yeah, I call that bloom where you're planted. Bloom where you're planted. You have a community right here, and like I said, and market and get yourself so ingrained in your community that they cannot ignore you outside the community.
But I also have 2 businesses. One, I'm a mental health therapist, private practice where I provide mental health services. And then the second one is I have a travel agent business as well. Because I love travel. Everything about the beaches especially. And shameless plug, y'all keep talking about wellness retreats. I'm holding a wellness retreat in Costa Rica in June. You guys want to come. The title of it is called Rest, and it's based on that right there.
And I'm gonna be there.
But that's a shameless plug. But my question is, I have these 2 businesses, and of course, like 3 more in my mind. But I was talking to a business coach a couple weeks ago, and she kind of dampened my spirit a little bit when she was like, "You need to focus on one." And she was like, because having multiple is not going to push you far because you're not able to put full energy into one and get that where you need it to be. So I just wanted to know what was your perspective on that, and how did you feel about that, or if you had even worked with a business coach, what was your experience as well?
I'm itching. I want y'all to help me because I got a memory. So one example I'm going to tell you is about I went to Undemo Day by accident. I went to Undemo Day, so I want to tell you about that. And I already forgot the other one. Oh, and the other one is about a client. So I'll start with the client one. I had a client who's the leader of a very large nonprofit, and we would have our 7 a.m. breakdown calls together, and I'm talking to her and trying to talk her off her ledge, and she was always feeling unsupported by her board and wondering why they couldn't help her or why they wouldn't help her. She was trying to do some pretty major things. And I had to ask her, I said, okay, I'm trying to say her name so I can keep some anonymity, but I said, you're seeking boss level advice from employees. Everybody on your board is an employee at their organization. They're not even the executive director, CEO. They ain't got no side hustle. No bit. You can't take advice or advisement from everybody because everybody doesn't have the calling, right? So that's the first thing I would say is, I don't know much about the coach, but just keeping in mind that every coach does not have the assignment that you have, and they can only speak from their level of understanding. And so showing them grace, not in a condescending way. It's like, okay, you probably have been taught that, and that's what has worked for you, or you've seen work, and that's what you're trying to impart onto me. But just understand that for what it is. The other example, I was at a demo day, and I went, and I got all my businesses and all the things. I had my little executive one pager that had like the QR codes where you could scan. I just had the high level, this is what this business does, and I have this many trillions under assets, under management with the client base that I have, and all of that, and was in there coaching the investors. Like, okay, you trying to do what today? What's your goal? Okay, you need to be asking this question. You need to be doing that. So I was very much so in my zone. And there was a particular person that I was really excited about meeting, because this is somebody that I had watched and admired and all of the things. And so I was getting ready to leave, and this person came. I was like, oh my goodness, they here. Also trying not to say their name. Help me. And so they got there, and I was like, hi. They were talking, so I just kind of like stood there waiting for them to finish talking a little bit, and then got acknowledged and introduced myself and started talking about what I do. And the person told me, and this is my first time, and I was so excited meeting this person. They said, I told them what I was doing and what I was looking to do and all of that, and they said, well, you really need to focus. You really need to pick one thing. And I said, well, and understanding that I'm a consultant and I, can coach and do all the things and know why she's saying that. I said, well, no, this is a little different because, I have a team, and this other thing that I'm building, I already have someone that wants to buy it, and da-da-da-da. And she's like, well, you need more than one customer. Like, that's not enough. And so at that moment, I ended the conversation gracefully, not like in a way, but I just like a light bulb went off, and I was like, this person is an employee. She thinks when I say buy that I'm talking about somebody want to buy a bag of chips from me. I'm literally talking about a person that is the president of $1 trillion, one of the largest Fortune whatever companies in the world, that wants to acquire something that I have an idea about. Like, I don't even have an MVP for it. I just talked about the idea. And this person said, build that thing up. This is the stuff that my company buys, and we just pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for this type of stuff from other, like, do that, go do that. And so in that moment I was like, oh, she can't speak the same language as me. Like, she can't help me because she's an employee. She's never, even though she has this seat, she's never started nothing. She's never, so, and I'm already saying she, so please don't try to put the pieces together and figure out who I'm talking about, because bless all the people and bless that lady and all that, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you just have to understand that not everyone can be your coach, not everyone can be your consultant, not everyone can lead you or guide you, because they can only speak to what they know, right? And what they've seen and what they can envision, and your vision is your vision. So how many hats I wear. I probably get that a lot, but you just have to understand and trust that if God put it in you, that he gave you what you need in order to do it.
And lastly, I'm just going to add, if you can reap the benefits of both and they both make you happy, there's no picking or choosing, right? If you can do it both gracefully, then again, don't let anyone dim your light.
Something I want to add, because I do have two businesses, that's two successful businesses. Find someone that believes in you. Get you a team around you. Because what I ended up doing is, this year is cleaning, next year is staffing, but I have a team that can run both of them simultaneously. So if you can find someone that believes in your dream and that wants to help you, regardless if you guys are making $100 or $100 million, they're still behind you 100%. Don't just pigeonhole yourself to one business. And don't, like she said, don't allow someone else anxieties to weigh on you.
I agree with everything that was said, and I also believe that when I get up in the morning, I set my intentions, and that's where my attention will go. And wherever your attention goes, that's what will grow. So in a sense, I never want to dim anyone's light. If you can do it both and you're happy about it, then do you, boo. So you do that. But at the same time, it always goes back to that vision of what you had. So for me, my vision was to build up a company that will run itself, and me and my husband can go off and do whatever we want. We did that. So I stopped practicing law to build up that company. So I put all my attention into that and wanted to build a multi-million-dollar business. And that's what the focus was, because I had a vision. Now I'm doing something else. But if you're happy doing that, you do that. And again, you surround yourself with the people that will support the vision. Support the vision. If they don't support the vision, they got to go. Because your vision is your vision. No one else can run your race. And if they're not on board, they're out. So I would say, depending on what your vision is and what your goals are, just pay attention to what you're paying attention to. And sometimes you do have to put, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to write this down, put it on the shelf and come back to it.
I think intention and alignment. So I said all that, and I've also been sitting across from entrepreneurs who like, yeah, I fried chicken, but I also do nails, but I also am a CNA, but I also rap on the side, and I'm a painter. And I'll be like, okay, so where is the intention at? Where is the alignment? So I think for me, everything that I do, all the different verticals, they're aligned, and they all play into each other, and they support one another. So there's intentionality and alignment and purpose for all of them. They're part of my puzzle, right? How many of y'all know Tabitha Brown? That's like going up to Tabitha and saying, well, you can only have Donna's recipe, or you can only have food in Target, or you can only have houseware in Target, or you can only be an actress, or you can, but she does all those things, and nobody feels like she's, pimping herself out, because they're all in alignment. They all represent her. They all reflect her. They all make sense. And so as you're thinking about what you want to do, ask yourself, does this make sense? Am I pretending to be something or forcing something on myself that I'm not or don't desire to be just to make a quick buck? Or is this something that I'm just really passionate about? Because that's going to matter when you're doing that thing at 3 a.m, because you can't stop, or you want to, keep going. So that's all I would say. Yes.
So piggybacking off what she said, I have a similar dilemma. There are a few things that I'm skilled at, and I may spend hours researching, studying, learning tutorials, and then act on it. And what you said, which was, are they in alignment with each other? They are. They're different, but they do kind of assist in each thing that I'm interested in doing. But my, I guess, conundrum or a dilemma was, do I need to create a business name for each one? Do I have to create eventually an entity for each one? Do I need a separate website for each one? Or can they all be encompassed into one, because it's just me right now? I might get a 1099 here and there to do some contract work, but ultimately, it's just small.
Okay, 2 words, alignment and bizwiz. So alignment, when I talk about alignment, I'm talking about not just do they make sense when you look at them on a piece of paper and can you connect them, but I'm talking about just like personal alignment. Do they align to your skill, your passion, and all of that? So I'm just adding that to what you're saying. I'm not taking away from what you're saying. How many of y'all in here have used BizWiz before? Okay. Are you one of the TA providers on BizWiz? Are you one?
I think I am.
Okay. I am a TA provider on BizWiz, as well as some of the other folks up here. Please use that resource. You can have strategy sessions. You can have like a lot of the technical assistance that you all are referencing and some of the questions that you're asking. That's what BizWiz is for, and it's free. If y'all come to me asking me to help you, I'm gonna charge you $300 an hour. You can go to BizWiz and get that for free. So use that thing. I use BizWiz, okay? So definitely use BizWiz, but I want to double down on something that you said, because a lot of people say, oh, well, I only need, one EIN and I can get this business in there and then do my nonprofit and then and it's like, no. Not only is it a no for like compliance legal reasons, but also liability. Depending on what the different things that you are, you don't want to have, you know, a business that has huge assets be connected to a business that's high risk, and then you get sued in your high risk business and now they take everything, right? You want to have those layers of protection. I know the lawyer over here probably could speak to this all day, but you don't want to have everything under one entity that can be sued or that holds all the liability if it doesn't make sense, right? Like, if you are doing like hospitality related stuff and you sell cookware and you cook with the same cookware or something like that, like if it makes sense and you're willing to take that risk of exposure, then that's fine. But if you are frying chicken and doing nails and a CNA and you got one company, like it break those things up.
I resonated with that when you told me that.
Yeah, I say that, but I am very structured too. So, but I'm very creative. So that's why I say I'm not your average attorney. But one of the things I want to plug Molden Law about and what I do is I do put things in place to make it affordable for our 0 to 100,000 entrepreneurs, and that is even if you go through BizNet. But I say you should have ongoing support. If you do not have a foundation or a group of advisors, one of the things that I do is provide strategy sessions. So I would implore, because this is what I do for myself, at least once a month, if not more, to sit down with someone that you could schedule a strategy session. Say, this is what I'm doing this month, Tanisha, here's my plan. Or we go through your monthly planning so you know exactly what you have to do. Or even having the extended planning session to go through your next 90 days. What is your 90-day plan? And having that in place so you know exactly what you're doing every day to get to the goal at the end of 90 days. Because again, this is your life. The business is here to support you. The business is here to support you, not the other way around. I know it feels like that in the beginning. It does feel like that in the beginning. But the goal is to look at it through the lens that this is here to support you, and what decisions are you making today to get to that position.
One thing I would double back and say is, you want to split those businesses up, because if it is you're doing nails and frying chicken, there's different grants just for the chicken that you're frying than for the nails. So, God forbid we have another pandemic and, there's some type of SBA loan or grant that comes back around, and you want to be able to have multiple EINs to be able to apply for those different loans and grants. So this on the funding side.
Yeah, I've been known to do that. So I have multiple EINs. I have my coaching company. I have the insurance company. I have the legal company. So yeah, you definitely want to be prepared. I also want to say that again, I'm always going to come back to the vision, because all these other things, it's going to work itself out. Your advisors, once you go to get those opportunities, they're going to get you in check. They're going to give you your checklist, and you're going to get all those things done. But it's still about having that vision in place so you know what opportunities align with what you want to do, and you're just not going out there because someone said, oh, look at this, you should, take advantage of that. Right now, like she said, you get in the position of firing a client. I'm actually was pondering that today. And I'm feeling more good about it, that they will get fired. But that is, you just get to that point that you look at the vision and the alignment of what you're trying to build, and it's not necessarily always about the money.
Take one last question, because I realize our panelists haven't had 1 or 2 hours. I feel bad. They've just been talking. So I did see that last year.
Hi, my name is Stacy, and I run a driver's ed school on Southfield Road, and I've been in business since 2021. And my biggest issue or concern is the way I handle my payroll. I have 4 instructors. I pay them with Cash App. I don't really do that anymore. So I
wanting to structure those things better. And also, I'm in need of a really good tax preparer, and I also want to look for grants because even though that I have a need-based business and the parents pay, but I'm looking for grants so I can offer free driver's ed to the schools. So that's what I'm here to learn and maybe get some information. Hopefully you guys have some suggestions or anything for me.
So you said what kind of business do you have?
Driver's ed. I teach teens how to drive and they get their permits, and also adults.
QuickBooks payroll. QuickBooks payroll. They also have a QuickBooks time. I would just keep everything in QuickBooks. Do you already use QuickBooks for accounting? What do you use for accounting?
Systems. You got to get your systems.
Not only the systems for like your peace of mind and like you have a legitimate business, but also like he said, if you want to apply for funding, a real like huge contract or anything like that, they're going to ask for your books. And if you send them an Excel file or a Word document that you typed up, or I don't know how you keep it now, you're going to have trouble. And it's also going to take you a long time to gather what you need, right? Whereas QuickBooks, you click a button because, you know, you have a bookkeeper, you have the systems, you have the stuff speaking to itself and all the things. So QuickBooks payroll, they process payroll for you. If you have 1099s instead of W-2s, they have an option for you to do that in there as well. They also have a timekeeping thing in there, so if people punch in, punch out, and it's all tied into your system, so you don't have to do multiple things. And another benefit of QuickBooks, if you use that to like get paid as well, over time, they monitor like your receipts and will they have a line of credit option as well, so you'll be able to draw down on cash, get cash advances on any open invoices that you have that might take 30 days, 45 days to get all of that. So QuickBooks is something that I would recommend.
Yeah, QuickBooks is good. I mean, there are multiple ones out here. You have ADP, you have Bill.com. So Bill.com connects with QuickBooks. So that was something that I messed up in 2020 doing, was paying Cash App, different things like that. But when it's time to get the grant money and different stuff, that's why I said I never had a loan or any grants, and paying people 1099s when they should be W-2s. Sometimes you want to align yourself now for in the future. You want to make sure like you have a great tax preparer. Like you said, you're looking for one. But the main thing is getting those employees on W-2, because I was always thinking like, well, damn, if I put them on W-2, they're not going to work. But there's someone out here that wants to work under a W-2. But QuickBooks is key. Bill.com or Invoice to Go. Like she said, they also, I'm just learning that they do pay an advance on your invoices and stuff, like after so long. But you got to cut the Cash App out though immediately. And then if you don't have any systems, I feel like at some point your business is going to run out. It should be like she said, for a peace of mind. You should be able to hit one button, and the invoice is sent every month at this particular time every month, just from a touch of a button.
BizWiz, CPA, funding, strategy, all of that.
All of that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely have accountants I could refer to you, but I have a question for you. Who else have you asked that question of? Not the bookkeeping question, the question about setting up the payroll and expanding your business. Who else? Where else did you say this question to? Who? So I would say you get people around you and ask that question more often. You will find out there are more people out here willing to help you and give you the answer than not. But they don't know how to help you until you ask the question. So going to different events, as you're networking, say, I'm looking for, that's your question. I'm looking for, I need help with, can you help me with people love to help.
And the Facebook group, if you don't go to BizWiz, just go into the MBBA members Facebook group and say, is there any CPAs in here? Boom. But BizWiz, because they pay for it.
Business owner, I feel like I learned so many things today. I might start a business tomorrow. So I'm super excited. I want to thank you guys for sharing your experience, your stories, your expertise. Much appreciated. Like I said, I'm not even an entrepreneur, and I feel like I learned so much. So I know the people who are actually working on their businesses really found it beneficial. So thank you so much. I do just want to invite you guys to, we were talking about grants, so I did have this slide prepared. If you guys are not signed up for the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready portal, it's 100% free. They have over 100 like self-paced modules on anything, from marketing to taxes to financials. It's a totally free program, and their grant just reopened on Monday, what's that, Tuesday, so yesterday, and it'll run through December 13th. It's the easiest grant you'll ever do because it's really just checking boxes, but it is a $10,000 grant. So definitely apply to that. If you haven't, like I said, it'll take you 5 minutes or less to do that grant. They just ask you to do 2 learning modules to unlock it, and those modules range anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. You can stop and start them as much as possible. So if this is not a tool you're using, I definitely suggest it, because they also do like to give out these grants twice a year. Somebody said they weren't a member, so I'm holding this up for you so you can sign up. Our membership experience coordinator, Alicia, will call you and really talk about what it is that you're trying to do with your business, because we definitely want to tailor the experience for all of our members. So if you haven't signed up to be a member, definitely do that so you can get that intro call from Alicia. She's great. And then we do have some events coming up. Tomorrow we have our Wind Down Wednesday, which is our networking series, because a lot of members said they don't really get a chance to talk to each other after events and things like that. So that's what that networking series is for. Tomorrow at Sweet Soul Bistro will be there from 5:30 to 7:30, and then we have another one that's further to the right. That's going to be on October 9th at Violin Society. So both of those tickets are on Eventbrite. It's totally free. First drinks on us for all our members, so definitely come out. And then you see in the middle, we have our fall mixer coming up on October 17th. So definitely, like I said, Eventbrite has all of the links for these websites. And then lastly, just want you guys to save the date for our Black Party. Our annual fundraiser is going to be December 12th this year. So just put that date in your calendar. More information to come about that location. But I just want to thank you guys so much for coming. If you have any questions, I'll be in the back for a second, but thank you. If you didn't sign my sign-in sheet, I would greatly appreciate it. It's right next to the rubber bands Mario was mentioning, so definitely take one of those on your way out the door.
Also, I have a cheap plug. It's only $27. I have my book back there in the back, the $27 Billionaire. You can get it today and I'll sign it, or you can order it on Amazon. Cash App, I take Cash App. I take every payment